Good morning, and thank you for joining me today. My name is Carolyn Sullivan, and I'm the Graduate Assistant at FIMS Graduate Library. Today, we will be discussing one of the databases you will be using in your LIS 9003 course, Novelist. So let's get started, shall we? So the main objectives for our presentation today will be teaching you how to find the database, tell you what information is contained in the database, determine the audience of this database and its possible uses, to help you gain hands-on experience teaching the database, and to try to anticipate any questions you might have. You will go to the FIMS graduate website, scroll down to the databases icon, and select Novelist Plus, which is the version with all the bells and whistles, as you may intuit from the chart below. So here we are on the FIMS Graduate Library website. I'm going to go over to Resources and scroll down to FIMS Databases. Click on that, and it's going to ask me for my super secret password. So I'm just going to put in my FIMS intranet password. Awesome. So now we're into the FIMS intranet, and I'm going to scroll down to Novelist. Now, if you're logging in from off campus, you'll need to put in the username and password listed here. However, since I'm filming this from the FIMS Graduate Library, it's going to let me write in. So here we are at Novelist. But before we start exploring the site, let's consider a question. What is Novelist? Novelist is a comprehensive reader's advisory tool. It connects you to books that you might like, but that you don't realize exist. And it also helps you figure out why you like a certain book and matches you to others you might enjoy. And it provides professional resources, such as book reviews, lesson plans, and book display ideas. Who is Novelist for then? Novelist is for everyone, but particularly librarians, book lovers, library patrons. One way that Novelist helps us identify characteristics of books we enjoy is through the appeal terms feature. Appeal terms are broken down into categories, some of which you may identify as narrative elements, such as character, storyline, and pace, or stylistic attributes, such as tone and writing style, and illustrations, which are particularly important when you're looking for children's storybooks. So let's take a look at some of the appeal terms and how they work in practice. We will start with a book or author we know. So I am going to look up The Name of the Wind, which is one of my favorite novels, and it's an epic fantasy. I click there. And if you scroll down, you can see the book appeal terms, including genre, theme, character, storyline, pace, tone, writing style. And if you scroll further down, you'll see these book appeal terms repeated once again. And here they have little checkboxes next to them. So if I select a subset of these checkboxes, say epic fantasy and world building and richly detailed writing style, and search on those terms, then it will give me a long list of other books that combine those attributes. And A good way to know that it's working is if you see a number of other books that you've read that you know have those same qualities. So going back, another way we can use Novelist to find books that we might enjoy is through read-alikes. Read-alikes are found on the right-hand sidebar when you look up a book, and they're books that Novelist has identified as being similar that you would likely enjoy. So we have Deadly Education by Naomi Novik, Robin Hobb's Fool's Assassin, lots of good stuff. You can also browse by genre, themes, appeal terms, and award winners, or use the appeal mixer. So if I go back into Novelist, and there's the Browse By buttons, and if I go into Browse By Appeal, the appeal mixer comes up. I'm going to select character and choose ability diverse. And I'm going to look for storyline, maybe own voices. And this will give you books that are actually written by people who are ability diverse. So if I click on this, so own voices is a great attribute to look under when you're looking for something that has authentic representation. Some other significant features of Novelist. Well, if we look under quick links, there's author read-alikes, book club resources, book display ideas, curricular connectors, which may be particularly important if you are thinking of becoming a teacher librarian. Genre outlines, grab-and-go book lists, which might be useful if you're creating bags for folks who need curbside pickup, and feature articles. So author read-alikes is one really useful thing that I should be showing you. So actually, if I just click on Sylvia Plath, it's going to bring me to a page that has all the books she's written. And on the right-hand sidebar, there's a list of authors that Novelist identifies as being similar to her either in style or in the themes that they address. Oftentimes you find a number of her contemporaries in the sidebar. So that's another option you can look at. Now that we've covered some of the main features of Novelist, let's go through some hands-on exercises so we can see how these would play out in practice for potential patrons. Exercise 1. You have a patron who loves Harry Potter but is concerned about the exclusion of marginalized groups from the narrative and J.K. Rowling's transphobia. They want fantasy novels with authentic representation, as do we all. What do you do? Well, one option is you can go to Novelist. And if we go to Novelist, I'm going to look up Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. And I'll click on the original one that came out in January 1997. And if I look at the read-alikes on the right-hand sidebar and just scroll my mouse over them, a little window will pop up giving me a short description. Oh, here we are. A Cat, a Witch. 12-year-old Sunny Nwaze, an American-born albino child of Nigerian parents, moves back with her family to Nigeria, where she learns she has latent magical powers, which she and 3 similarly gifted friends use to catch a serial killer. That sounds way more diverse than Harry Potter. So let's click on A Cat, a Witch. And if we scroll down, we can look at the appeal terms for that, which include fantasy fiction and let's pick culturally diverse and own voices. Search. And 191 results, which are all fantasies that have more diverse representation. So we got Children of Blood and Bone. Ooh, we have Kiki's Delivery Service based on the Hayao Miyazaki film. So let's go on to exercise 2. A patron calls your branch and asks you to reserve 2 books for them for curbside pickup. They like books based on a true story, and their favorite author is Francine Rivers. Let's go on to Novelist. And they gave you an author they liked. So let's see, Rivers, Francine. And that pops right up, search. And click on the author. Brings us to the author page, and we see some attributes about the writer in her little biography here. So began as a romance writer, writes inspirational novels, evangelical Christian beliefs, and on the right-hand sidebar, we see something similar. Click on Beverly Lewis. Contemporary evangelical Christian family stories among Amish communities in Pennsylvania and Ohio. Well, that sounds like the sort of good, clean, wholesome romance that our hypothetical patron, who may or may not be my mom, might enjoy. So we might try out some of the first books in these series down here. As for another aspect of what our hypothetical patron asked for, books based on a true story, we may find this slightly more challenging. Novelist doesn't have a search for books based on a true story exactly, but we can get creative and look for something similar. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for a book that I know is based on a true story. So like Tattooist of Auschwitz. And if I search that and scroll down under the appeal factors, I see biographical fiction and historical fiction, which both might be elements of a book that's based on a true story. Search on those. And as I might expect, it gives me a whole list of books based on a true story, based on the life of, based on the true story. So any of these might be potential options. And let's go to our last patron. You work at a library that regularly has poetry readings and workshops from famous poets who live in the area. The branch manager wants you to encourage higher engagement with the program. What do you do? Well, you could create beautiful flyers like the ones shown in this image or reach out to the authors. But another option might be looking on Novelist for some ideas. So if we go on to Novelist, and let's see. Take a look at book display ideas. And we see a lot of popular themes here like supernatural histories, some things to engage children, graphic novel hybrids, nannies and babysitters. These scare me on voices. Ooh, adult fiction that passes the Bechdel-Wallace test. Steal this idea. Put a poem on the poetry. Thank you. I think I will. National Poetry Month presents a unique challenge for youth librarians everywhere. Okay, organized poetry slams, yes. Planned craft nights, during which teens made their own magnetic poetry set. And the poetry, a space where patrons of all ages can celebrate poetry by writing and sharing it. Encourage members to write original poems or copy them from your library's poetry collection onto index cards or die-cut leaves. As people walk by, they can add to the poetry or simply read the poems that others have shared. Well, that could be lots of fun seeing what people in your community have done. So there are some images, the poetries that people have made, signage, leaves. There you go. So we've come to the end of our presentation. Please let us know if you have any questions. Contact us at bimslib@uwo.ca and we'll be happy to help. We hope you have an excellent semester and stay safe out there. Have a great week, everyone.